Disney Snow White reboot. You've heard it all before, right? But get this, they're not just rebooting it again, they're rebooting the reboot. Yes, you read that correctly. After the Rachel Zegler Snow White movie belly flopped harder than a cartoon anvil, taking a devastating $115 million loss with it, you'd think Disney would maybe, just maybe, take a breath, reassess, and perhaps, I don't know, not immediately announce another one? But nope. This is Disney we're talking about. They've apparently decided the best way to deal with a spectacular flameout is to just light another fuse. And Rachel Zegler? Let's just say she is not happy. Insiders are whispering about fury, betrayal, and a whole lot of shade being thrown from Camp Zegler. Forget subtle jabs, we're talking full-blown frustration, hints at behind-the-scenes chaos, and the kind of unfiltered thoughts that could detonate this whole fairy tale fiasco. What she might reveal next could blow this whole situation wide open. But to understand why this second reboot announcement is such a bombshell, we need to rewind, way back to a time when Disney was still riding high on live-action remakes and feeling, shall we say, ambitious. October 2016. The House of Mouse declared they were giving Snow White the live-action treatment. This wasn't just any remake. It was supposed to be epic. Aaron Sorkin-esque dialogue? Maybe not quite, but Aaron Sorkin Wilson was on script duty. And for the music, they snagged Benj Pasek and Justin Paul, the Oscar-winning duo who sprinkled musical fairy dust on La La Land and The Greatest Showman. Expectations? Stratospheric. I mean, what could possibly go wrong when you mix Disney magic, award-winning songwriters, and a classic fairy tale? Well, hold that thought. By May 2019, things started to get a little quirky. Director Mark Webb, the guy who swung Spider-Man through New York City, signed on. Spider-Man directing Snow White? It's a vibe, all right. Fans were either hyped beyond belief or scratching their heads in confusion. Swinging webs and enchanted forests? Different skill sets, arguably. But despite the head-tilting director choice, the project marched forward. For a while, it actually looked promising. Then came June 2021, and Twitter practically combusted. Rachel Zegler, the breakout star from West Side Story, was cast as Snow White, a powerhouse voice stepping into the iconic princess gown. Intriguing. Then, November rolled around and they dropped another casting bomb. Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman herself, as the evil queen. Let's be real, who didn't want to see Gal Gadot smirking evilly while plotting mirror-based sabotage in a floor-length cloak? Even Gadot admitted she was thrilled to embrace her inner villain. January 2022 brought another twist. No Prince Charming. Instead, we got a Robin Hood-esque character played by Andrew Burnap. Disney was clearly in the mood to shake things up. However, just as the cast was assembled and cameras were about to roll, disaster struck. March 2022, a fire broke out on set. Thankfully, no injuries, but the damage caused delays. Filming eventually powered through until July 2022, with reports of lavish sets, dramatic lighting, and enough green screen to make your head spin. They thought they were finally wrapping up. But surprise! Test screenings happened, and the feedback wasn't exactly a chorus of happy dwarves singing hi-ho. Back to reshoots they went in June 2023, but the behind-the-scenes drama was just a warm-up act for the real controversies that were about to explode. Enter Peter Dinklage. He called out the whole Seven Dwarves concept, asking, "You're progressive in one way, but then you're still making that backward story about seven dwarves living in a cave? What are you doing, man?" Disney, in full damage control mode, slammed on the brakes and declared, "Okay, fine, they're magical creatures now." CGI wizardry to the rescue? Maybe not. Some members of the dwarfism community weren't exactly thrilled, calling it a missed opportunity for genuine representation. However, even the dwarf debate was just a prelude to the storm brewing around Rachel Zegler herself. When her casting was announced, reactions were polarized. Some cheered for long overdue diversity. Others, clinging to the traditional Snow White, had serious doubts. Suddenly, Snow White was trending for all the wrong reasons. Critics complained about Disney rewriting history, even though we're talking about a fairy tale with talking animals and a girl who hangs out with 7 random guys in the woods. Zegler didn't back down. Instead, she doubled down on the importance of representation, highlighting Snow White's beloved status in Spanish-speaking cultures and expressing excitement about giving the character a fresh spin. Whether you were applauding or cringing, everyone was definitely paying attention. And if you thought the casting drama was the peak of the roller coaster, buckle up, because we're just getting started. In a 2022 interview, Zegler called the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs extremely dated. You could practically hear the collective gasp from Disney purists around the globe. She also described the prince in the original film as weird and made it crystal clear that her Snow White wouldn't be waiting around for some random dude to fix her life. "It's no longer 1937, she declared, "and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that's not going to be saved by the prince. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be." Some fans lauded this fresh perspective as refreshing and long overdue. Others were, to put it mildly, deeply offended. Then, things took a sharp turn into political territory. August 2024. The teaser trailer had just dropped when Zegler posted 2 words on social media: "Free Palestine." Boom! Comments section exploded. While Zegler was voicing support for Palestinian causes, her co-star Gal Gadot was publicly pro-Israel. What ensued was absolute online pandemonium. Boycotts were threatened, comment sections devolved into digital war zones, fans started dissecting every promotional photo, searching for signs of tension between the two stars. Then, someone unearthed Zegler's old tweets criticizing former President Donald Trump and throwing shade at his supporters. Suddenly, a whole new storm erupted. Reposts, reactions, cancellations, defenses. It was online exhaustion at its finest. By November 2024, Zegler issued an apology. "I can only hope that despite my flaws and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see," she insisted. She claimed she never intended to hurt anyone and just wanted peace. But by then, the damage was done, and the on-set vibes were reportedly colder than the evil queen's heart. Word on the street was that Zegler and Gadot didn't exactly see eye to eye. While Zegler was vocal about Palestine, Gadot had made her stance crystal clear, stating, "Standing in front of you today saying simply that my name is Gal and I'm Jewish, and we have had enough of Jew hatred." But their rift wasn't just political. Reporters whispered about on-set tension, and some claimed Disney had to provide extra security for Gadot after threats surfaced. The ultimate telltale sign? The studio scheduled separate press appearances for the actresses. Not even a forced, PR-friendly smile on a shared couch in Hollywood. In Hollywood code, that's basically flashing neon signs saying, "They definitely aren't friends." Disney's marketing team went into full-blown panic mode, frantically emailing, nervously editing trailers, and essentially hiring social media babysitters to monitor Zegler's accounts like hawks. The promotional rollout became more awkward than a royal ball crasher. Joint appearances were rare, interviews were excruciatingly cautious, and the red carpet energy was tenser than a family dinner after someone mentions politics. March 21st, 2025. Snow White finally stumbled into theaters across the US and Canada. And the box office numbers? Ouch. Opening weekend domestically brought in a meager $42.2 million, already below the projected $45 to $55 million. International markets added roughly $45.1 million, bringing the global opening to a dismal $87.3 million. To put that in perspective, this movie had a production budget somewhere between $240 and $270 million. And that's before the marketing avalanche Disney unleashed. As of early April, the movie had scraped together a paltry $71.4 million in the US and $75.8 million worldwide, totaling a global haul of $147.2 million. Do the math. Disney was staring down a financial black hole of around $115 million. 0 cents. Box office flop. So, what went wrong? Zegler, to her credit, stepped up post-release like a seasoned pro. When critics were less than enthusiastic, she stood by her work. It's very validating. A lot of hard work has gone into this film, but so much love, truly. Speaking for myself and also for the filmmakers behind it, we set out to bring a fresh perspective, she acknowledged. She admitted not everyone was feeling it, but maintained the film had heart. Admirable, really. But depending on who you asked, Snow White didn't just get a glow-up, it got a whole personality transplant. Gadot, ever the diplomat, kept it classy, saying, "Filmmaking is a team effort," and delivering the standard, "we all put our hearts into it" line. But let's be honest, when you go through all that crown-wearing and apple poisoning only for the movie to tank, it stings. The reviews didn't help.